Imagine going to a party with your friends and everyone is drinking and doing drugs. You choose to take a drink and you don't realize that years later you will not be able to live without it. You regret choosing to go to the party and taking that first sip of alcohol. Addiction is something that affects everyone at some point. It could be something as simple as being addicted to sugary drinks or to something as life-threatening as drugs. Some people believe that addiction is a disease. However, I believe that it is a choice. Over 100,000 people die every year from drug overdose. These addicts could easily still be alive and have a successful life if they would have made a different choice in their lives. Every addiction starts somewhere, and the person that becomes addicted to whatever substance they choose gets to decide when it starts. Addiction is a choice, and the person behind the addiction is always responsible for it, no matter what. So many different things can play into becoming an addict. If a person has a family member that has been an alcoholic, drug addict, or a person that overeats, this person could easily get addicted to that same substance. This is where the addiction becomes the person's choice. In the article, Is Addiction a Disease? It states, from everyday experience, we know that not everyone who tries or uses drugs or alcohol gets addicted. That of those who do, many quit their addictions, and that people don't all quit with the same ease. Every addict is different in their own way. Some can quit their addiction right away, and for others it can take years of rehab to try and quit. It is not a quick recovery process. However, it is worth it in the end. Quitting your addiction is all about the choice as well. If you don't truly want to get better, you will not get better. All addicts must be mentally prepared to deal with the many physical symptoms of withdrawal. In the same article, it states, most addicts don't think they are sick, and that the stories of people who have overcome their addiction instead of impotence and disease speak of journey and empowerment. This quote shows how addicts should not think of themselves as having a disease, but think of how they are choosing to get better and back on the right track. During an addict's recovery process, they need all the support they can get. This will make them feel more important and want to get better for the people around them and themselves. Emotional support is always necessary in situations like these. If the addict does not have anyone supporting and helping them, they might become discouraged and decide to continue their old habits. I spoke with a family member of an addict, and they prefer not to be named, but they told me about how hard it was for their aunt to quit, and she kept relapsing. Then she passed away from a drug overdose. Her family told me that she would wish she would never start and should still be here. Most people want to have a family at some point in their life. Most people want to have children of their own and be able to set a good example for them and show them how to properly act in normal everyday situations. In the book, Addiction, a Disorder, it states, as children get older, they often find themselves adopting attitudes that are more and more like those of their parents, even when they have moved far away and don't particularly appreciate the similarities. This quote explains how parents' actions will affect how their child will act throughout life. If it is your child's normal day to see you high on drugs or impaired, they will assume that it is an accepted activity to which they can partake in. Is that the legacy that you want to leave your child with? In the article, Is Addiction a Disease? It states, around 80% of addicts overcome their addiction on their own by the age of 30. They do so because the demands of their adult life, like keeping a job or being a parent, are incompatible with their drug use and are strong incentives for kicking a drug habit. This quote shows that some people will realize they have to put other people first and need to stop their addictions so they can be normal, functioning adults. Most jobs require drug tests, and if you do not pass those tests, you will not get the job or even be considered for it. The addiction someone has could keep them from having a really good job that allows them to support their family. Another reason some people try to quit is because they are going to become a parent. Honestly, if you do not try to quit your addiction so you can be an amazing parent, then you should not even be having a child. When choosing to start your addiction, you put all these important things at risk. A job might not want to hire you, so then you will not be able to provide for your family, and then you might have to move out of your house because you cannot afford it anymore. So many things can be ruined if you choose to start your addiction. Addiction is a choice. You choose to start your addiction, which will cause a chain reaction, and this will affect you the rest of your life. The addiction may vary, however, every addiction can have a downside. Being hooked on drugs and alcohol can ruin so many things for a bright person's future. If you ever being peer pressured into doing something that could cause an addiction, just stay away from it and make the right choice. Do not choose something that could ruin your opportunities in life forever. Okay.
Hey, give me a picture.